On this episode of the Star Trek Universe podcast, we are talking about Star Trek Picard episode 109 in Arcadia Ego, part 1. Right after this commercial that we have absolutely no control over.
Welcome to the Star Trek Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
What's up, Dave? Welcome to, 3 a.m. or whatever.
It's okay, man. I'm so excited. This was a great episode.
Yeah, dude. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I really liked. We talked about it last week, but the idea of just a planet born of data.
Yeah.
Still don't understand how they got there. I still don't understand which synth was used to create it. But just the idea of a planet born of data, and then the fact that they're kind of losing their way, and it looks like they're gonna have to Picard is about to fight a planet of data.
Okay, can I just say whether he knows it or not? I think Brent Spiner is lore. I just don't believe that. I mean, we've seen that Soong had a wife who aged like Data, had an aging Chip. She looked human. She believed herself to be human. There is absolutely canonical precedent. If Maddox even Soong in this episode said Maddox was the one who did the brain transfers. If he made Lore think that he was the actual son of Soong,
or
man.
This is Lore just tricking them, tricking Picard and them, and maybe even tricking all of the synth babies.
Possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved, what's her name? Not Jana. The other Daj Soji Jana clone. I forget her name.
Lorette. I don't know. I don't know her name. I can say it. In my head, I was calling her Lorette.
That was a good fake name, I guess. That was a good job.
She's Lady Lore.
That's funny. Yeah, she basically. I just loved seeing that actress get to play a pretty different character. We never really saw much of what Daj was really like because, she was just in panic mode the entire episode.
That's right.
And we've gotten to know Soji pretty well. Soji's trying to get her to know herself. But, and we know that Jana died a long time ago, but getting to see her really sink her teeth into kind of a different role and even a different look. I really liked the, kind of halfway to full flesh androids.
Yeah, if there is a just great bird of the galaxy, that girl will never be hurting for work, because in this one season of television, I think she's proven her salt, man. Yeah,
I'm with you. I think she's done really, really well. Great actress. By the way, I just gotta throw it out there on the podcast. I wrote my song this week, a song called Raffi.
You did?
Threw it up on Twitter, and I tagged Michelle Hurd. The lovely Michelle Hurd not only retweeted the song, based on her character, but she also supported the Kickstarter, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was really awesome. Really awesome. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just started the Kickstarter. I haven't even really promoted it all that much. I think I mentioned it on this show the other day when I posted the song. But just to have the actual the person I just wrote the song about, the character, this person who plays the character, you know what I mean?
For just a second, I wanted to argue the point, and I was like, no, I'll give it to him.
It's just really neat, and that was super cool. It's just threw some money at it, and just a little bit, but it's still anything, man. I think that's so cool.
Yeah,
so
it was really cool.
Very, very cool. Thank you, Michelle Hurd. If you're out there listening, surely you listen to this podcast, obviously.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Everyone listens to this show.
Yeah. There's only like 150 people in the world, right?
Maybe by the end of next week.
Oh, yikes. Yikes.
Oh, got that gallows humor going.
Mm-hmm. Kicking in. Anyway. So
the last defense mechanism.
So I didn't really care for the Borg cube stuff in this episode.
Oh, yeah? How
yeah. I kind of thought we were at least like, I almost just don't know I don't know why they wrote that scene in.
But what was your issue?
Okay, so just nothing happened. They went there. I thought at least like we'd get some sort of trading around of crew members, like, you know, Elnor and Seven joined them, or like Girardi decides to stay to work on something, or, you know, like some sort of like jockeying around, like there'd be a reason they went there, but they went there with the 5 people. They said hi, glad you're okay, and then they left without changing anything.
Well, they did change something.
What they do?
The whole they saved the ship. They saved La Serena. Like, they basically helped them out and made sure that they didn't like completely die. Like, they were gonna die before they ever got to the surface.
No, I know the Borg cube saved them in space. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about once they landed.
Oh, well, I mean, they're there. They're just there right now.
Right. Like, but that's a writer decision. Like, they could have easily put that Borg cube anywhere on the planet.
And also, this is part 1.
Sure. Yeah.
They had to get all of their main characters in one place for the finale.
Yeah, but that could happen in the next episode. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah,
but that's not how they chose to do it.
I disagree. I'm saying I don't think they did a very good thing. I just felt like it was about 5 minutes of the episode that seemed to be stalling out. Yeah, I can't imagine a reason. They traded nothing but information, basically, which could have easily been done by, we got the radio working or something, you know, instead of like having a whole scene. I thought it seemed like a scene just to have them all in the same place for a second, which to me was sort of a waste of a scene and kind of a waste of time when you've only got an hour and a half left of the season.
I didn't feel like it was a waste of time. I enjoyed seeing them all together. I felt like I needed Picard to know what happened to Hugh. I needed him to see Elnor, and we don't know what the next episode brings, so they might not have time. Like, I know it's a writer thing, but, you know, I'm also like, I'm not willing to judge it yet based on things we don't know.
Sure.
So, like, I don't know what next episode looks like, but I will say I didn't feel like anything was a waste. I really enjoyed seeing everything between everyone. I loved Picard, you know, like friggin' 7 of 9 telling him like, keep saving the galaxy. He's like, that's on you now. Like, that was rough.
Yeah,
I liked that Elnor and 7 now know about Picard's condition.
Yeah.
What bothered me a little bit is I felt like they showed their hand too much. I knew Lorette was going to be bad as soon as she walked out. Like, I was just like, she's trouble. And I don't trust...
Almost purely based on like how she grabbed onto Girardi's face and like...
Yeah.
Kind of pushed her into that. Like, that seemed, I'm with you. That seemed strange.
I don't trust Soong at all. And like I said, I think he's lore. But
I
you keep chuckling like you think I'm simple or something.
No, I'm not. I don't think you're simple. I think you're holding on to that idea, and I think it's probably not the case. I think the idea that he's Soong makes sense to me. And
I mean, maybe I see it, but to me, it's like, what son? You didn't have a human son. When did this happen?
He was real old by the time we saw him. He easily could have had a son that like went off. That's not very hard to.
And I'm like, you know, where I don't know. How did he get up with Bruce Maddox again? Like,
don't pull a. Where did Michael Burnham come from? Honest,
no, I'm not pulling that. I'm just, I need more backstory here before I actually trust. I mean, they might very well by next episode say like, oh yeah, that's exactly who he was.
I feel like there's a lot of backstory just kind of alluded to here. You see, Dave, when a man and a woman love each other very much.
When I see a TV show purposefully be vague about backstory, I don't trust it.
Sure. And I'm not saying you're totally crazy. I do believe that it could be Sung, but the way that he was arguing with Picard at the end.
That's sort of why I don't think he knows he's Lore.
The way he's arguing with Picard reminded me exactly of Lore.
Yeah, I think like his emotions towards the quote unquote children and stuff. I think all that makes me feel like he actually believes he is who he is, but there might still be, or makes me think he doesn't remember that or doesn't know that he is who he is.
Yeah,
is what
I think it's
say.
just as likely that
Maybe
that Maddox activated Lore, and Lore has been on this planet working on these androids.
Yeah.
And, hey, I would love if they gave Lore a little bit of pathos. A little bit of like realism instead of him just being the mustache twirler. Maybe he really is someone who cares about his children, and just hasn't cared about saying he's wanted to get rid of organic life for 30 years.
Yeah, how great would it be if we got a scene where like Picard looked at him and go, "Why didn't you tell me you were Lore?" And he was like, "Would you have trusted me if I had?"
Yeah,
that would have been great. That would be great. Now, here's the thing. You remember that weird little object that the android girl gave to Raffi, and she's like, "What is it?" She's like, "It'll fix your ship. It fixes things." And she's like, "How?" And she's like, "Use your imagination." Right after that, she has a conversation with Picard, and as soon as she hands it to and said, "It fixes things. Use your imagination," I looked at my wife and said, "That's going to fix Picard. He's not going to have the thing in his head anymore."
Interesting.
Because when she tells him she loves him and hugs him, I think she was thinking about how she wished that his brain was okay, and that little thing probably healed him.
That's possible. It's possible. The whole plot line of him telling everyone he's sick was really touching in this episode, and particularly that Raffi scene. And it was so Picard. It was so well done. Like that was just classic JL right there. When
really sticking to the people who don't like JL, aren't you?
I am. I would never have used it if people weren't so mad at it. But I just, when he says, she says, "I love you, JL. You don't have to say it back." And he says, I don't. Okay. And then he like starts to walk away and says, "I love you too, Raffi."
Yeah.
It's just Picard. It's still Picard. It's still his like impulse to not get close to people and to hold himself back from people. But it's also, he's evolved a bit, and he's also a man who knows he's dying.
Yeah.
And it's just really touching moment. Really, really touching.
Yeah.
Moment. Loved it.
Yeah, that was all great. Earlier in the episode when he tells Elnor how proud he is of him, my wife goes, "I want Picard to tell me that he's proud of me." And then later with the Raffi, she's like, "I want Picard to say he loves me." It's like,
I feel like that's how every one of us feels about this show.
Yeah.
Like everything Picard, every bit of affection Picard shows to anyone, we're like, can that be us too? Which like Patrick Stewart coming back to the show, it's just such a gift, man.
It really is.
It's just such a gift to the Star Trek fans, to the Star Trek community, and to the show itself. It's just great.
Yep. I can't imagine what they were going to do if they did Star Trek Picard without him.
What do you have? Okay. Who is the golem going to be? It's going to be somebody. That's Chekhov's golem right there. And I don't mean mean that it's going to be Chekhov, because that would be a weird leap.
Walter Koenig in.
He's so weird.
It's just going to be like Walter Koenig walking around going, in Alameda, where are the nuclear vessels?
The one thing I will say that I think they got out of going to that Borg cube was just the moment where 7 of 9 just like kicks 2 dead Romulans down the like off the big crate.
That was fun.
It was.
And I felt bad for feeling like it was fun, but it was fun.
It was. You're totally right. Yeah, just I feel like that scene was inserted just to show that 7 of 9 is a badass. You know?
Probably.
Let's see. So you never answered.
What did I not answer?
Who's the golem going to be?
Oh,
I mean, I feel like it's going to be someone here, or it's going to be someone here that's going to die, and then they're going to reanimate them through golem, or they're like maybe they'll be about to die, and they'll throw them on that bio bed, and Girardi will download their consciousness. In which case, I think it would be someone that Girardi really cared about.
You know what?
What?
There is a possibility that the little thing that fixes things is not actually, it might be that is a complete red herring and the golem is going to be Picard.
Sure. I wonder though if the golem is Picard. To me, I feel like whoever it is might get like a whole new body, and you don't really want to give Picard a whole new body. He's still like this whole show is predicated on the fact that he's in his last days. Like he's the old man going back into the cold.
Well, not necessarily. Like this season is. And I think there's a possibility that they could put his mind into that body and then age him back a few years because he wouldn't be okay with looking young. But that way Patrick Stewart can play his actual age as opposed to the 90-year-old man that he's playing on the show right now.
That's fair. That's fair. He is playing older, but I also think he's playing older, but I don't think he's playing it that much older than the 70-year-old man he is. I think he is. I think the thing we're supposed to be believing is that he's a 90-year-old man, but in this world, 90 is the new 70.
Right. You know what I'm thinking of is it's just it's making me wonder about like X3 when they put him into like his twin's body or whatever it was when they transferred his mind.
X3 when they put him
X-Men
in his
3
twin's body.
Yeah, it was an after credits thing. Like Phoenix killed Professor X, and then at the end we find out that there's like a body laying at Muir Island, and it's like his twin or whatever that's been in a coma for 100 years, and then he's like Moira, and she's like Charles, and then all the other movies after that he was Patrick Stewart again. So
yeah, well,
like that didn't happen.
Well, and in we just rewatched these, and I actually missed that scene somehow. Jeff was telling me about the same scene, and I'd forgotten it again. But but there was a scene, the scene at the end of The Wolverine. Patrick Stewart and Magneto show up. Eric Lindstrom, and Xavier show up at the end, and he's like, "How is this possible? You're dead." And I keep wanting to say Picard, but
Xavier, we all know what you mean.
Xavier just says, yes, the first time I met you, I said you're not the only one with gifts. And it was just the weirdest. Those movies, man. We're doing them on Bingers Assemble right now. And it's a mess. Those movies, they're like weirdly great at moments and like weird, just like really, really wonderful scenes. And then just like bonkers things that they throw in there.
And, not to get too derailed here, but what's funny is Days of Future Past doesn't reference that scene from the Wolverine at all.
Yeah. Well, they jump forward a bunch in the future, and at least Wolverine is with the two of them. So I guess that's the idea. But yeah. Anyway, back to
where? Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Back to Picard. Yeah. No, like it definitely jumps forward like 20 years or something, and like, oh well, we're just here now in the future fighting Sentinels. Yeah.
Right.
Which they've teased in like every single movie, but they finally actually had them fight weird future Sentinels.
Yeah.
All right. back on Picard. Back on Captain Xavier's fantasy space cruise.
That's what it is.
I think that's what they call it. So I don't know. What'd you think of this culture? This felt very much like a traditional Star Trek episode in many ways, you know?
It did. It really did. And I liked it for that.
Me too.
And I'm just so intrigued, though. Like, I just want to know what they're going to do, because I feel like they've definitely set up holograms as some sort of synthetic life that needs to be addressed.
I totally agree. Agree, but I don't at this point, I don't think they're doing it this season. Unless this alien race, I think we're going to get the classic. I think this whole season may be one really great classic Trek episode, in that the final moments of this season are going to be some alien race gets called down by lore to like be the saviors of synthetic life by exterminating all of them, and then Picard has to do the classic captain of the Enterprise thing where he has to stand up to the gods and like fight for why do they deserve to exist, you know?
Yeah.
I think that we're poised for that, for sure. But if that happens, I think it'd be neat if we got a moment where like whoever these synth gods are, they look over at one of the holograms and they're like, why aren't you on our side? So, you know, like,
yeah,
something like that could be nice. I do really think they should. So much hologram stuff happening, and it's like, you know, Star Wars has that like just blind spot where they just mistreat droids, but they're also really sentient, it seems, and it's like kind of horrific. I feel like that's the way we're getting with these holograms. It's like this entire story is about what is synthetic life, is it real life, and then we've got like 6 synths on the crew that like we're not discussing whether they're life or not.
Yeah, I don't think that's an accident.
I surely hope not. But it feels weird because we're down to the last episode here, and they haven't talked about it at all.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to have to go next season, because I don't think it's an accident. I really don't. Like, they said there's a synthetic band, and then they show a hologram in charge of like all of Starfleet's data stuff. Like, and then you're going to have like 5 holograms on the La Serena. I mean, come on, man. You're just setting it up. You're teeing it up. It's going to happen.
I feel like you gave that one hologram at Starfleet a bit of an important job when you said she's in charge of all of Starfleet's data stuff. I think she's basically like an attendant at a storage unit place.
Whatever it was.
Like, I think that's just remember. Like Picard's storage unit that he's going to. And it's like a quantum storage unit, and it's real badass, but like I think it's just a storage unit.
Yeah, you're right. That's what that was. I couldn't remember.
But it's still to be noticed. When we see her originally, it's just after they've told us about the synth band, and then they cut to her, and she looks like a Soong android. Like, she looks a lot like one. And it's like, what is going on here? And she's talking about how she's trying out humor. It was so obviously pointing to Data and his struggles to be human. And I just don't understand if they don't touch on that. But I also, you talk about it going to next season, but I feel like there's a lot to do with Picard still. Like, they've got Patrick Stewart for 3 seasons, supposedly.
Yeah,
like,
that's the plan anyway.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot to do. And if you're going to spend, I felt like this was the season we're going to talk about androids as life. I mean, I'm sure they'll persist into the next couple seasons. I'm sure this colony will still exist, and maybe we'll see them more. And I think Soji will stay on the crew unless she dies or whatever. I don't know. I think we'll still get more of these androids in future seasons. But I thought this was going to be the season where we grapple with that question. And then next season we get to grapple with other big questions of what's going on in the world of Picard at this time, you know?
Right.
I don't really want another season about whether the holograms are sentient life, kind of wanted them to bundle those two things. It felt like an obvious thing to bundle.
Yeah, I want Guinan and Q, and I can't think of anything else really.
I'd like some actual communication with the actual Borg. I'd like to know what's going on with the Borg and, what it all means and what are they doing now? How have they evolved in the last 30 years? And see Picard really deal with the Borg. This season, the Borg cube has meant almost nothing. You know what I mean? The fact that it was a Borg cube, it's meant a lot to Hugh and the XBs, but like it almost felt like just a reference to all that stuff. Mm-hmm. We didn't really get much story around the Borg and the XBs.
We didn't get a ton of story now, but I don't know. Again, they might be saving that for later. I feel like they're setting up a lot still.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think about the Admonition in this episode?
The fact that it was actually a message for synths.
Yes, and the reason it's driving humans, or sorry, not humans, but organics crazy is because it wasn't meant for them. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I liked that.
I liked that too. I also, and it even makes sense from like they didn't understand it fully. That's part of the reason it drove them crazy. But it also drove them crazy. Like if whatever part of them does understand it, understands that there's a much greater danger that the synths pose, because at any time they can call out to this synthetic alliance. Mm-hmm. It's pretty scary and interesting.
Yeah, it's terrifying. A synthetic federation, essentially.
Yeah.
Oof.
I dig it, man. I dig it. Like that. I did not expect that. That was out of that nowhere in my speculation did that enter in, and I'm glad they surprised me.
Yeah, and when they said it, I thought, well, that's boring. That's not like what I thought. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, that's actually terrifying.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying. And that there's this synthetic federation out there waiting for every culture to generate synthetic life and then come and exterminate their forebearers. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, I love it. That is a really cool. It's cool, but it also like makes sense why it's never been around before, because they never had synthetic life to this degree. And I love it. I think it's a really cool addition to the Star Trek canon. Like it's just a neat concept. It's something I've never heard of or thought of, which is always what I'm looking for.
Let it be that freaking machine world from Motion Picture.
Well, it very well could have been that machine culture is one of the cultures that they have taken in over the years.
Yeah, man.
Maybe whatever culture built those machines, maybe the reason it was a machine world is because their forebears were exterminated by this federation.
Yeah.
That's absolute sense.
That's good stuff.
That's
really, good stuff.
Really, really good stuff, man. And it makes a lot of sense because it takes this many thousands of years for us to develop, or millions of years for a culture to develop from, simple life to whatever, more complex or humanoid, and then eventually develop synthetic. And it just seems like it makes absolute sense that there could be this crazy thing out there. They also said they exist outside of space and time. So are they some sort of travelers, possibly? Some sort of time travelers?
I don't know, but that's a good point. I want to know about Wesley and the Traveler too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just saying.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
I do. I really do. As soon as they gave him the job on that after show,
yeah,
Star Trek Universe Podcast Light. As soon as they gave him that job, I was like, Wesley's not coming back.
Oh, really?
That's how I feel about it. I feel like giving him a job where he's like involved, but he's not on the show, felt like a little bit of a, like, relegating him to the kids' table.
No, I didn't see it that way.
Yeah, It's definitely not for sure, but it felt that way to me.
I just thought, oh, hey, they have him in mind. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's just really funny because I'm sure you know this, but he was Chris Hardwick's college roommate.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, the fact that Chris Hardwick is the guy who started all of the after shows as like an actual thing, you know, with Talking Dead, and then now all these years later, his college roommate is taking over for the Star Trek one. The guy who was on Star Trek is just really, it's like super meta. I mean, the existence of an after show is meta, and then yeah, it's just really kind of interesting.
Yeah, but I would say him being on the after show and hosting the after show and talking to the creators and writers and all of that, the cast, I think that's way more, that's upping the chances of them like talking behind the scenes and being like, so where's Wesley at?
Yeah. No,
that was a thing that we never talked about on Next Generation. What happened to him? We know that he was in Nemesis.
Right. The more I think about the whole Wesley thing, the more I'm pissed off that he was in a Starfleet uniform in Nemesis.
Right?
Like, he has somehow traversed the galaxy or multiple galaxies and seen all kinds of things that the human mind was not meant to see, and like he's like evolved to a new form of life almost. And then he comes back and like joins back up with Starfleet. I just don't buy it. It's weird, right?
I don't know. Maybe not, because maybe he sees the value in the Starfleet. Maybe like all of that perspective gives him an even like higher level of
appreciation.
Yeah, appreciation, and who better to captain a ship or to serve on a Starfleet vessel than someone who's had that experience?
Yeah, it's possible. Possible. What do you think of the Rios and Girardi scene?
I really liked it, and I hope that is a thing that we continue to see flourish as the series progresses. Yeah, I
really liked that they did not kiss.
Yeah,
it was just a nice level of intimacy between them.
I agree, and I at this point hope that we're not going to eschew the characters we have built in the first season in the second. You know, I want to keep seeing Rios. I want to keep seeing Girardi. I'd love to keep seeing Raffi. All of these people that make it out of here.
Yeah, I feel like somebody's going though, right?
Yeah, and thinking about doing the cast, I think the reason we have 7 of 9 and the artifact on this planet, they need 7 of 9 there because she is going to be the ambassador. When the synth gods or synth federation or whatever the hell they are show up, she needs to be there, plugged into the artifact and being like, nope, I am the connection. I am the combination.
Infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
That's right. We can work together. You don't need to destroy everyone. Like, I think she's going to serve that purpose, perhaps.
I can see it. I can see it for sure. Let's see. I really wish I remembered the Lorette's name. But
dude, what do you think about Spot 2?
I loved it. I loved that Spot 2's in there.
Yeah. That was weird. But yeah, I think Lorette or whatever, Loretta, I guess we could call her.
I mean, you talk about her calling her Lore, and that's funny. But like, also, like, she seriously did some dark stuff here.
Yeah, dude.
She got Saga killed. For some reason, I can remember that girl's name, but she got Saga killed.
She totally did. Yeah.
And their society is so small. It seems like to be willing to sacrifice one of your own. I really loved all the conversations this episode about sacrifice that Soji has with Picard.
And she killed that girl. She killed that other android as Soji was talking to Picard about the logic of sacrifice, the calculus of sacrifice.
Do you think that Soji knew that the evil Soji was going to.
I don't think so. No,
was going to do that. Or
no, I think she was looking at a big picture.
Yeah, she's just talking about calling down the aliens,
right?
Or the I'm just calling them synth gods. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or we can just call her control.
The syntheration.
Syntheration, sure.
Right.
Synth control, synth roll.
The synthire.
Ooh, the synthire. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It was just... What do you think's going on in Narek's head? Do you think Narek really cares? Is he just manipulating, or does he care about Soji?
I think he loves her, but he loves her like a child loves a bug that he tortures.
Ugh.
Like,
do children love bugs that they torture?
Like, you know how like kids will just be like, not maybe not loves, but
that seems like a weird.
Yeah, but like, analogy. I think it's like a sort of a sick infatuation. But like when he tells her he loves her, she says, "I know," and and then she says that he's like twisted and stuff. Like I think he does, huh?
Yeah, she doesn't think he actually loves her at all. She thinks he's super broken, and she knows he tried to kill her.
Yeah, but I think he does like love her and appreciate her in some sort of sick way, like she's not real, but he's like infatuated with her. And
yeah, I think he's very infatuated with her, but he believes she will bring her out destruction. And honestly, it's kind of a so what's the incel sort of thing going on, where he super wants her as like as a desire of his,
right.
Maybe as property almost, but he has no. But he also finds her to be like the great evil. I think there's something they're playing with there about that sort of an idea of infatuation. That
right, he's got her on a pedestal to some degree, and hates her for that, but also is infatuated with her over that.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for that idea. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, any predictions for next week? What are we going to see from ye old Picard?
I think Laura's going to factor in somehow. Like, I think those engrams were used, or whatever you want to call them, those neurons, whatever.
Yeah.
I think they were made from lore.
It's very possible.
I really do.
Very possible.
I suspect Soong is actually lore.
I don't hate that at all, and I loved Picard, and the way that Lore, I'm calling him Lore now, the way that Soong feared letting Picard talk to the androids, like that seemed like he knew. I mean, he did. He says, "Oh, you're going to convince them. We're going to need to put you under house arrest." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Oh yeah, if they'll listen to you, you'll start making us doubt ourselves." It's like it's as if he's had that experience, and we never really discussed. We don't know why Maddox left.
We don't know, and I believe he left because he couldn't control quote unquote Soong anymore.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. That it's very possible that this is all part of this diabolical Soong/Lore's plan, but I kind of hate that because it just oversimplifies it and makes it a bit mustache twirly. Also, I have it playing in the background here. There's a shot of them like at this sort of like funeral like moment where they're looking down at Saga, who's been stabbed through the eye and she's dead. And they still have the hummingbird pin still in her eye, and that seems really inappropriate.
It is a little weird, yeah.
That seems real weird.
It is a little weird, man.
Yeah. Anyway.
What was I going to say? I never answered your question. But if they don't use that golem for Picard to save his dying body, it's going to be Data.
See, that's as soon as they showed the golem. Didn't they show the golem before they showed Sung?
No. He was standing over the golem.
Okay. When I saw that thing, that's the first thing I thought. Oh, well, that's how we're getting Data back.
He was standing over the golem talking about how he created the mechanics of it, but what's his face? Maddox knew how to do their mind transfer, even though he had, out of necessity, been attempting it recently. So, yeah. But it didn't have a face, which just means, to me, it's going to be someone we know. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it's absolutely going to be someone. Let's see. Wild card, Beverly.
It would be nice if it was Hugh, but I don't really see how that would work.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I think it'll be Data, or a combination of Lore and Data.
It just seems weird if it was Data, partially because you could just make a Data,
Right.
Like, I don't understand why it would have to be.
If they could, they would have already, though.
Unless Data would be the perfect person to talk to the synth gods.
Maybe.
So they, make a Data. And maybe they, all combine. They are literally his brain, right? Like, all these different synths are his brain. Maybe they all pour some part of themselves into a Data clone and create Data, because Picard thinks he needs the man who he trusts more than anyone,
Right. There's definitely Data memories floating around, or else there wouldn't be a spot too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, all these people are Data memories. Like, they all recognize Picard. They all know him as their sort of protector and someone who cares for them. The Data is all over this place. I mean, this is Data's brain turned into a bunch of different beings, which I just love, man. I love this planet exists. They better not kill them off. They killed off so many of the XBs. They keep presenting us with cool ideas, then taking them all away. Don't take our toys away.
Yeah.
I love that Hugh is back working on the artifact. I wanted more Hugh story,
I didn't want a ton more of Hugh's story, except that I wanted him and Geordi to hang out.
I contend that they could.
I would love to see Hugh and Geordi hanging out, and Barclay in the background being jealous and weird.
Well, Hugh's been around, kicking around the galaxy. He's been on the artifact a while. He's been kicking around the galaxy for 30 years. And we've got a lot of story that hasn't been told. There is a possibility, and if they ever do a Geordi show or a Geordi whatever, they'd be missing the opportunity. Excuse me. If they didn't do some sort of flashback with Geordi.
Well, what would be fun is if we saw Hugh in the future, and someone could say wait, you were dead, you died, and he's like, don't think so, third dimensionally or whatever. Like the Borg Queen from First Contact.
Yeah. Oh, you know we didn't talk about at all?
What?
Jurati choosing to work with the synths to destroy all organic life. Man,
I didn't buy that at all.
I weirdly do buy it. I don't buy that Soji's on their side. I think that Soji's definitely going to double cross them. I think it'd be weird if Soji and Agnes both double cross the synths.
Loretta, as I'm calling her, did the wrong thing. She asked Jurati, would you die for your children? I'll know if you're lying. And Jurati said yes. That doesn't mean that she believes that what Loretta wants to happen should happen. Doesn't mean she's not going to sacrifice her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the context, it kind of did, though.
It did within the context, but human beings are deeper than that and are trickier than that. And I don't think that android lady is thinking about it quite on those terms.
It's possible.
I think there's going to be some sort of like bending of the rules there with Girardi, where it's just like, well, technically I did mean that, but I don't think your actions are the right way.
But if she joined this, is there any redeeming her? Sutra is her name.
Sutra. Okay.
All right. Last half of Kama Sutra. Got it.
Yep.
That will not be hard to connect. Okay.
Wow.
Sorry. She was a pretty android lady. What?
She was a pretty android lady.
Wearing all them soft fabrics.
What?
I like soft fabrics. Anyway.
I can't get on board.
Moving on.
I'm not okay with this.
Let's see. Where were we? Oh, yeah. I just don't know. If Agnes does join the dark side, as it were, again, I'm like, is there any redemption for her? She already joined the dark side after seeing the Admonition, killed Maddox, which is a pretty harsh, bad thing to do. And then she joins with this androids that are wanting to wipe out all organic life. Like, she's, I don't know that she can be trusted after this.
Yeah, I don't think she really did join them though, for real. I don't believe it. I won't believe it.
I respect that. I think that some combination of her and Soji are joining them just to turn on them later, whether through writing or the characters themselves know that's what they're doing. I'm not sure.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it from me. You got anything? You got any trivia or quotes or feedback?
Did we talk about the title of the episode?
We did not. We did not, in fact.
Yeah, the title of the episode is Et in Arcadia Ego. And the translation of the phrase is, even in Arcadia, there am I. And according to Wikipedia, the usual interpretation is that I refers to death, and Arcadia means a utopian land. And
so even in a utopia, death is still there. And so I think that's a double meaning there. I think that they're talking about the death of the synths at the hands of the Federation. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about this utopia that these androids have built, which I cannot remember the name of. That the death is still in their eyes. You know, these are androids that supposedly are built off of data, but there's still murder in their eyes at the fear of being destroyed, which, you know, understandable.
Yeah, which in ancient Greek mythology, Pan lived on Arcadia, and that's where we get the word panic from. So that's interesting.
Huh, okay.
This is all Michael Chabon, man. This is his wheelhouse.
Yeah, he loves this stuff.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, I don't think I have anything else, honestly. Like, I enjoyed the episode, and I look forward to going back and rewatching it.
Yeah.
Man,
here.
Next week can't get here fast enough.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm pumped for a lot of reasons for the close of this season. Been working very, very hard on my music for 20 weeks now. Like, we're almost at half a year that I've been working on these two albums, and have produced more music than I've ever produced in any 2 or 3 year period, you know?
Right.
Like, I've produced more music in the last 6 months than I've produced in my life up till now.
Yeah, man. You're like 60s Dylan, you know, like smoking your weed and writing 5-minute songs in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm working hard on it all, but I was planning to dive right back into a Black Widow album, try to get out before Black Widow comes out. But since Black Widow was pushed, I'm actually going to be able to slow down a little bit, which Was it finally pushed? Yeah, they moved it back.
To when? Next year?
Unclear as of now. They have not set a new date. It's all of the Disney stuff. They indefinitely postponed all the Disney stuff. So all that means is they don't know yet. But
right,
yeah, it's a bummer. And understandable. We don't know what's going to happen with this whole coronavirus stuff.
Yeah. By the way, I do remember the word indefinite from my flashcards. So.
Well, you said it. I was commenting on your tone when I said they don't know when they were doing it, and you went, "Oh." I'm like, well, it just means they don't know. It doesn't mean
I know, but it's also like
it's a scary word. Yeah,
yeah.
It's a scary thing when they say we don't know when this is coming out, and it does. What really is a bummer is, as you know, we do the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. And that sucker has not had new content in almost a year now.
Wow.
And, we have had a very gracious listenership who stuck with us, and we try to make good content every week. But 52 episodes, honestly, more like 100 episodes, because we often do 2 a week. 100 episodes with no new content, like it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's always fun rumors and stuff to spit about, but I was very much looking forward to like the universe ticking forward, even if just one movie, because it always opens up the like sort of rumor mill and the speculation fun, and like we were really excited about that, and now we've got to wait that much longer. So that's a bummer. Now there's a lot of stuff being said online about how they might start releasing some of this stuff online.
Yeah, they might.
And they might. But, Black Widow was going to be one of the biggest movies of the year, and now it's not going to come out in theaters. And I don't know. We've talked about it off casting a bit, but it's a bummer. It's all a bummer. It's a bummer to lose that stuff. But obviously the sickness and death in the world is a much bigger bummer.
Right.
So that's a bummer. Anyway, well, guys, we're the Star Trek Universe podcast. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you. Joe Untrue.
Oh, I did it.
You did
Don't jump in there. I did it.
For the first time. Live long and prosper.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.